Thank you, Samir. And hi, everyone, and welcome to this roundtable session of Reimagining Manufacturing Industry with Gen AI, its applications and adoption of use cases. So, as in the world today, right now, we are discussing a lot of things about generative AI with Open AI coming up with a new model of GPT O and stuff like that. So, generative AI is changing the face not just of one particular domain, but also the manufacturing industries. So this technology holds a lot of incredible potential for manufacturing companies to improve their efficiencies, quality of their products, while also streamlining their operations, stimulating their environment, and companies can create a lot of new design, optimize their own existing designs, and open up a lot of new potentials, possibilities, and come up with the very revolutionary products and transformative processes. So this is the topic and the overall brief that we'll be discussing today. Over to you, Avinash.
Thank you, Urvinder. Good morning, everyone. Now we've all seen a lot of buzz around generative AI, disrupting, transforming all the fancy words that people want to use in certain industries. Now here we are talking about how it's going to make a big impact on the manufacturing industry, and then we've seen a lot of articles, a lot of content, and a lot of work that companies have been doing on the generative AI. So I think keeping that theme in mind, I would like to ask this panel, and I'm going to call out names also. Uh, if you can, it'll be good if you can talk about what's the biggest impact Gen AI has had in the manufacturing industry. So maybe Varun, if you can share your thoughts along these lines.
Awesome. No, first of all, good morning, everyone. Urvinder, Avinash, thank you for I would say, a good introduction here and even introducing. So, broadly, when you talk about generative AI, how do I see in manufacturing is like, it might impact into three different segments, right? So, it will either increase your revenue, it will either increase your efficiency, or it will help you to manage risk, right? So, these are the broader three pillars in which,
Hmm.
what we have seen as a Deere is can generative AI can impact. And now coming back on the biggest impact which generative AI can create, looking into the kind of arena in which we operate, right? So I'm not sure if you are aware about Deere. So we are basically a tech manufacturing organization. We deal with multiple different segments from agriculture to followed by road constructions, followed by uh, turf equipments is what we deal with. Primary, we are a US-based organization. We are number one when it comes on the agri products, and we are extensively growing. And we have a very specific, I would say, domain which is called precision ag, which we use extensively generative AI, computer vision, where we make sure that with less we can generate more, right? So that's the theme on which we operate. Now, looking into the overall landscape, how Deere has shaped and how this generative AI is impacting us, I would say few focus area. One of the focus area which I see is customer success. Customer success for equipment manufacturing is very critical, right? Because once your product is being shipped, how do you make sure that your customers are using that product in a much more efficient manner the way you want, right? And they are basically exploring all the features which is there. So for an equipment manufacturer, for us, we have multiple folded features which is there on the, I would say, the equipments. So customer success can eventually help us to have the holistic view of how the features are being used. Are they being used in an optimized manner, and how we can help using that data to make my customer more successful, right? So that's one of the theme is what I feel is creating an impact for us, specifically in India. And apart from that, if you ask me holistically from the manufacturing side of it, I think moving forward you'll see more of a guided machine maintenance, right? You do have those predictive analysis, you have predictive modelings, all those is still existing. But what generative AI will bring into the picture is it will basically combine all the data together and can basically create a holistic maintenance plan for you, right? You can have detailed insights about the parts. You can eventually customize the overall execution plan, which you will put into the factory so that the shop floor can use it. And then it's basically quite adaptable because you can eventually get the feedback from the previous station and then you can start implementing that, right? So these are broader theme in which I feel, Vinder, Avinash, which will impact the manufacturing. There are multiple more details, like, more about troubleshooting. I somehow feel like, we will use generative AI to make our shop floor employees much more efficient, much more powerful, right? Each and every individual in the shop floor will have the efficiency to do a troubleshooting, right? So if you see the gravity of that, what will happen is the overall workforce will eventually have more efficiency, more knowledge about the process, which will eventually help us to grow the organization well and build cutting edge solutions.
That's awesome. That's brilliant insights, Varun. Customer success is very, very important. I think it also helps retain loyalty among customers, and they come back to Deere very often. So, fantastic. We'll move on to the next panel here. Prakash, what are your thoughts on this one?
Thank you, Avinash. Thank you, Varun, for your nice insights on generative AI in manufacturing. So, talking about in my area, the company I work for, where we are into multiple sectors like energy, utilities, aerospace, telecom, and a full slew of sectors, excluding banking, financial services, and insurance. So there, manufacturing, of course, is one of the key vital areas where we focused on utilizing GenAI, the groundbreaking technology, to deliver customer success in productivity gains. Also, we are trying to look at how we can leverage GenAI to get competitive advantage, because productivity gains is definitely the low-hanging fruit when you're talking about GenAI. So we know there are three archetypes for GenAI utilization. One, you could be just a taker model, but in the sense you just use OpenAI, OpenAI's API, and then you can utilize, build a front end, build functionality around it, use that to provide you the summarizations or insights, whatever you want GenAI to do for your use case. That is one straightforward low-hanging fruit. The second is you could be the shaper architect, in the sense you are not just going to look for productivity gains, like in customer success and other things. You are looking at competitive advantage. So how do you get competitive advantage? You need to know the domain well. So you have a lot of expertise. We have like 20 plus years in OTT, IT integration. We have so much expertise available on these domains. So you can fine tune the LLM, the GenAI models, with your data, and then use it as a service and solution for offer as a service to other customers. So in that case, you are getting not just the productivity gains, you are also getting a competitive advantage. So these are two areas we are looking at as greatest impact that we can leverage through GenAI. So one of the use cases that we deployed for an aerospace customer, they had this ground proximity warning system in the aircraft. And there are field agents who are there supporting this maintenance of this equipment in the aircraft, and they have a lot of issues coming up. So there are a lot of tickets to be solved, and they have to look through thousands of pages of many 10 manuals, then service bulletins, like 1,000 plus knowledge articles, call recordings, historical tickets, installation pilot guides. All those data is there, massive amount of data. So we use the GenAI model to train the model on these data, provided a UI like ChatGPT using React, Angular JS, and then chat interface. So any of these field engineers can have a self-service portal. They can type in the issue they are facing, and they don't have to go through lots of data to identify where the issue is, what the solution is. They immediately, within 10 seconds, they get the answer. Not only the answer, they also get the reference from where GenAI picked up the answer. So you have the manuals links, the PDFs, or it's audio recordings, whatever. So all those links are also provided, so you know where you got the answer from. So that was the first use case that we deployed successfully for an aerospace customer, and it has gone well with the customer as well, and they are trying to get into production and take it to the next level for the version 2 as well. Okay.
It's fantastic. I can imagine the amount of data that is available for aircraft, the manuals, hundreds and thousands of them. So fantastic, Prakash. Thank you so much. Very insightful. Bhargab, over to you. Anything
Thanks.
that you have seen that's very interesting?
Thanks, Avinash. And yeah, I think Prakash and Varun have already mentioned quite a bit of areas of respective applications. From my perspective, if I look at my current industry, we are into the home building sector, specifically into the interior side of your home, how you make it from house to home, right? How we can, you have a house, then you have to make it as a, convert it to your own home. Now, considering that perspective in mind, what we are trying to do, first of all, this sector is very much growing in India. It's almost double-digit CAGR we are having. But what we are traditionally the industry is struggling in terms of identifying the consumer needs, consumer demands, and consumer perspective about design. Sometimes we ourselves do not know what we need to decorate our home, right? So that is one thing we are trying to tap by leveraging Gen AI, identifying help, first of all, helping the consumer to converse to a design that he or she wants to have in their home, and accordingly uh, directing that design to our product portfolio, so that the
Mhm.
from discovery to consideration and purchase, that uh, cycle reduces. That is one thing. At the same time, leveraging the same approach, we are also trying to identify new design pattern from the new product development perspective that will help us shaping our go-to-market strategy across India. As you can understand, in India, across all states, we have different preferences, different way of making your home decorative, right? So those, all these things also we are trying to tap into. So this is one area we are trying to figure out how Gen AI can help us. So second area, what I would like to highlight here from this perspective is on the core manufacturing side. From, I think Varun has already mentioned about traditional AI, which is definitely will be required, and nobody can say that traditional AI will be replaced so easily. And actually, it will not be replaced. In fact, as an AI cannot do the traditional AI aspect in machine health, anomaly detection, and all these things, right? However, what I have observed, especially some kind of Indian industries perspective, we have about 9, 10 manufacturing facilities across India. Few are very modern, and few are very old, outdated. Now, looking at the old ones, I have realized while doing my recent study that few of the areas we do not have proper PLC and SCADA-based programming logic already put in place itself. That is, and why it is because of lack of capability, lack of resource availability, and all these things, and also investment need as well. So this is one area I believe Gen AI can play a role in creating that autonomous, creating that scripting of PLC logic programming development, right? That can we do that? Because we know the set of operation what to be done for that particular process section. So that is one area we have not done yet, but we are starting to evaluate how it can be done. So this is two area we are specifically looking at this moment. And third is one that is a traditional part. I think almost all organizations are doing in some way or other, which is converting your traditional BI into conversational based insight delivery ecosystem, right? People nowadays, nobody wants to see those many dashboards. This is gone. That era of dashboards are gone. How we can convert them to more like a chat GPT kind of environment within the organization. For my organization, can we create that environment? So that is the another third aspect we are looking into at this moment.
Very, very interesting use
Great.
cases, Bhargav. Uh,
Yeah.
Especially the design one that you talked about. I had not heard of that before. So very interesting. I think the PLC one was equally interesting. So just one question on the PLC. So even if you are able to generate the logic and the code, you would still need like a hardware interface where it
Yeah,
connects to the machines, right? Okay.
correct, correct. That will be definitely required. We cannot get rid of that. That would be definitely required.
Yeah, that's awesome. Thank you.
Yeah.
Urvinder, over to you.
Yeah. 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 Thank you, Avinash. So as we move forward, we'll try to understand like what is the next frontier Gen AI can bring in into the manufacturing space. Like we are looking into the traditional, like let's say customer success areas or troubleshooting, and some area of like GTMs and personalization, building portfolios. So something like that sort. Like this is what we are already knowing. But if we want to explore the next frontier as to what the future holds, what we can think that Gen AI has also the capability into this environment, what are those frontiers we can look into? So this is the next topic or the thing that I want to ask my panelists, like what could be the next frontier in Gen AI in manufacturing as per you all? So we can start with Prakash.
Yeah, thank you, Urvinder. I think it's a very important question at this juncture, where we are with Gen AI. Many people have experienced with the pilots, some successful pilots, and many are moving into production. What I see is, I would just like to give a idea about APA, Agentic Process Automation. It's the new buzzword that is fully powered by generative AI. So before I talk about APA, you need to understand automation, where you have heard of RPA, robotic process automation, where you, in a non-invasive way, the bots replicate the human interactions with the different enterprise systems, applications, right? There are some limitations and issues with RPA, because if the UI, it's based on UI, it uses computer vision to look at the UI. The UI changes, it is not that intelligent enough to change the thing. You need again L2, L3 support tickets to change the code and work it. This is where I see APA coming as a powered by generative AI is going to be a game changer, because with generative AI LLMs powering the automation, be it with the SAP, Oracle, or any Salesforce, CRM, any type of enterprise application, what will happen is because it's a LLM powered thing, Gen AI will be more intelligent enough, even if the UI of those applications are changing. The automation that is accessing those UI, Gen AI will know what has changed and where it has
Correct.
changed, and you don't need a L2, L3 to come and increase your maintenance cost for this automation. Have the separate team look at, and there is a downtime because of this, change that has happened. Business gets impacted, and business envisaged a type of target earlier, and then later they see these kind of downtimes are affecting their ROI, what was envisaged at the
Great.
beginning.
Yes.
So
Great,
here,
Prakash. Yeah.
yeah,
Sorry, Prakash. So cut you short. We have a bit of limitation of the time, so
sure,
we'll give you like in the subsequent round. We'll try to give you the time
sure,
to
sure. Go
come.
ahead, Varun.
Bhargav, next you, like, if you want to put some light on this thing.
Yeah, see, Gen AI is still evolving. I think, in my view, we do not know what could be the actual next instead kind of next gen thing, to be frank. That is what it is. However, what I can see one thing in purely from the core manufacturing environment perspective, I think it is linked with what Prakash has mentioned already, specifically from the that robotics and that we use, right, in terms of my overall operational side, the robotic movements and all. Currently, it is very structured, instruction-based movement. Most of the times we are doing, but how we can make it more like kind of a humanoid-based kind of thing. Let's say, somebody is doing some maintenance work, and suddenly he realized, okay, I had need these spare parts, right? And if he can just instruct immediately in a more conventional way to the robotic assistant, then can he understand and bring that thing immediately, right? So those are the things, probably one thing I can think about, in addition to whatever all the market go-to-market strategy and whatever we have discussed already. So this is what I am thinking at this moment, but it's still evolving in my view.
Yeah, absolutely correct. Absolutely. So, like humanoid and cobots is something where Gen AI and all the hardware will start merging, and we can explore all together a new phase of
Correct.
the potential of Gen AI. Great. Varun, what are your thoughts like on this particular point?
I think Prakash and Bhargav covered most of my thoughts, but I want to give a different flavor altogether, right? So, my thought says, as organizations and these models are evolving over the time, there would be always a new horizon where you see a different front line coming in. For example, yesterday's launch for, I would say, GPT-4o, I feel that, more in the manufacturing term, now stations will be more voice based, right? So it would be voice guided stations where you don't need human interference,
Yeah.
right? So you just give one uh, guidelines from station one, and I think from there it just follows the everything, right? Because now voice, image, I would say more of a multi-model is becoming so mature that maybe in the future is what I feel this would be the next thing which will happen in the manufacturing. As Prakash mentioned about APA, auto gens will eventually be there, but from the manufacturing side of it, the auto gens will eventually help you to have AI generated designs, quick prototyping. You can use 3D printers to start simulating what would be the next efficient design. So I think these are the two things which I feel. There might be multiple different frontier coming from the generative AI, but these are two which I feel will have a broader impact.
Great
Yeah.
response, Varun.
So
Yeah,
Urvinder, one comment here. I think that's
yeah,
exactly the point I had also. I think there is an evolution of all this Gen AI applications, right? You start with search and summarize. You put a lot of documents. Then you say, hey, why should I even chat with these? Can I talk? Right? Then we enable the voice-enabled search. Then you'll start talking. Then at some point in time, hey, why should I even talk? Can you just give me exactly where I should focus on? So that's probably one evolution we would see. The
correct.
second frontier could be a combination of your traditional AI, Gen AI, operations research, machine learning, all coming together. And like Prakash said, you just have to uh, tweak, tweak so it depends on how you design it, right? You either tweak the back end or the front end, and so, but all these will come together, and the insights that we give to the end user is going to be much more precise, accurate, and also we give the power to the user to self-serve. I think that's where we are headed probably in the next few years. It's very early stages for most of us, but I think the direction towards self-service, more accurate, very precise, exactly what people have to do, hyper localized insights is where we are heading towards.
Yeah, and one more point to add on this thing is also looking from not just the operational, the ROI, the business end, but also the key part is the in the manufacturing industries or the plants, the safety part. I think that is also the key potential and which has a lot of potential to explore. So where Gen AI, computer vision, and all these algorithms can work in, and with this voice, video, command thing, I think we can easily instruct these, like Varun mentioned, we can easily work from an hub and spoke, like one station can monitor all the workforce in different plants and monitor the safety measures. I think the potential is quite huge. And moving on to the next part and the last part, like we have discussed a lot of potentials, we have discussed about a lot of like good things about it, but what are the challenges that you are facing right now with respect to Gen AI? Because Gen AI is altogether a very new thing. People are still working on different POCs, trying to understand whether it can go in the production environment or not. So, what are the key challenges you think that you in the industries are like in your industry or in the manufacturing space one can come
Maybe
come
in the
across?
interest of time, one
Yeah,
phrase or one sentence answer, please.
yeah,
Yeah, probably if I can may say, bridging the gap from expectation to reality.
Fantastic.
great.
So I can go next. You know,
Yeah,
See, these are new technologies, and the way these manufacturing plants are being set up is all legacy, right? So it take eventually times to upgrade the existing machines. So I think that adoption would be one of the challenge which you will see in the manufacturing, the overall process enhancement and maturing the existing legacy machines.
great.
Yeah,
Yes, Prakash.
adding on to what Varun mentioned, when you have this adoption thing, change management is very important to have widespread acceptance of these latest technologies. Even though technology is growing at a tremendous pace, but it has to the operations, the users in the manufacturing side, the workers, they need associates, they need to get the buy-in. Otherwise, it's going to be difficult to implement without having an effective change management plan.
Fantastic. So I'll go next.
Very well said.
So a couple of
Yeah,
things. One is so point is a readiness. One is readiness of the data, and second is the readiness of the organization. If these are not in place, it's a big challenge to implement anything. Urvinder, you have any points here?
yeah, I think most of them are covered. But yeah, as Prakash mentioned, and I would echo and second to it, like change management is very important. Until and unless we set the change management pieces together, you bring it any uh, Gen AI or any AI or completely artificial general intelligence as well. until and unless the change management is in place, I think you cannot deploy and work with it. So change management is the key part of it. And also like Bhargab said, expectation and reality should be bridged together to come up with all these things. So as Gen AI and Chat GPT has acted as a catalyst in the world of AI, like every person is not talking about AI, but the ground reality is still the legacy machine learning algorithms, which are actually the one which are taking the heavy load of it. So this thing, the competency building and everything should also be part of it. So yeah,
All right.
these are some of the points. Yeah.
Thank you, Urvinder. I think it's been a very insightful session, the last 30 minutes that we spent. Want to thank the panel for your time and sharing your thoughts on this interesting and emerging topic. And also want to thank 3AI to getting this industry leaders into a forum like this one. Excuse me. So with that, I think we'll wrap up. Samir, over to you. Thank you so much.